Imagine a world devastated by nuclear fallout, where the shadows of buildings are still etched into the walls, and the sky is a bleak canvas of destruction. This video will take you on an intense journey to explore what happens after the bombs drop. What remains of humanity? How does the Earth adapt to a drastically altered environment? Watching this video will provide you with a deep understanding of the challenges and possibilities of a post-nuclear future, offering a clear vision of how the world might reorganize after such a catastrophic disaster. Are you ready to face the reality of a future where survival is the utmost priority? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to wake up in a world where everything changed in an instant? Or how communities might rebuild in such a hostile environment? This video is for those who want to grasp the true consequences of a nuclear post-apocalyptic scenario. Let's get straight to the point. What would life be like after the bombs fell? As soon as the nuclear bombs detonate, the world is instantly transformed into a scene of desolation. Entire cities are reduced to rubble, while massive explosions cause widespread destruction. The incandescent heat wave vaporizes everything in its path, creating vast areas of complete devastation. Those who survived the initial impact are quickly confronted with a terrifying reality. Widespread radiation contaminates the air, water, and soil, making vast regions uninhabitable. Infrastructure collapses, with communication, transportation, and energy networks obliterated, plunging the surviving nations into chaos. With the collapse of societies, social order quickly disintegrates. Governments and institutions become powerless in the face of the crisis's magnitude, leading to widespread anarchy and despair. The surviving populations, disoriented and without basic resources, face the harsh struggle for survival amid extreme shortages of food and water. Tensions rise, and the law of the strongest prevails in an environment where violence and fear become the new norm. The world as we know it crumbles, leaving a broken civilization struggling to reorganize among the ashes. After the nuclear bombs explode, global climate change is rapid and devastating. The massive amount of soot and dust thrown into the atmosphere blocks sunlight, plunging the planet into a nuclear winter. Temperatures plummet drastically, resulting in intense cold that destroys crops and disrupts entire ecosystems. Seasons become unpredictable, with long periods of darkness and a completely deregulated climate cycle. This scenario further exacerbates the food crisis, leading to mass starvation and the collapse of supply chains on a global scale. In addition to extreme cold, nuclear winter devastates natural systems. Acid rain, resulting from chemicals released into the atmosphere, poisons rivers, lakes, and fertile lands, rendering vast areas inhospitable to human and animal life. Biodiversity takes a fatal blow, with mass extinction of species unable to adapt to the extreme conditions. The air becomes toxic and dangerous to breathe, exacerbating health problems and reducing the life expectancy of survivors. The planet, once vibrant and full of life, transforms into an arid and hostile landscape, where survival becomes a daily battle. Surviving nations face a new geopolitical reality, marked by a fragmented and ruined world. With many global powers decimated, the struggle for power and survival redefines international alliances. Countries that managed to avoid direct annihilation now deal with waves of refugees, humanitarian crises, and shortages of essential resources. Borders become conflict zones, and distrust between nations increases exponentially. The global balance of power is destroyed, giving way to a scenario of constant tension and uncertainty, where diplomacy is replaced by pragmatic and brutal survival. In a post-nuclear world, the scarcity of essential resources becomes one of the greatest threats to survival. With drinking water sources contaminated by radiation and infrastructure destroyed, survivors resort to rudimentary and risky methods to filter and purify the little water available. Food also becomes a rare commodity, as crops are decimated by nuclear winter, and wild animals suffer the same devastating effects of the toxic environment. People are forced to resort to extreme rationing, cultivating small gardens in safe areas, and even hunting mutant animals that manage to survive in these extreme conditions. The search for safe shelter becomes a vital priority for those who escaped the bombings. Ruined buildings and devastated urban areas offer little protection against the elements and persistent radiation. Survivors then improvise underground shelters, using rubble and found materials to build shelters that can withstand the weather and keep radiation out. Those with access to old bunkers or military installations have a slight advantage, but face the constant threat of invasions by other groups desperate for security. Daily life becomes an incessant struggle for survival, where every resource, no matter how small, represents the difference between life and death. Faced with the extreme conditions of a post-nuclear world, adaptation becomes essential for survival. Many survivors opt for underground shelters, which offer protection from radiation, the extreme cold of nuclear winter, and external threats. These shelters, often improvised in tunnels, abandoned military bunkers, or even building basements, become the new home for those who can access them. Life in these refuges is marked by constant darkness, severe rationing, and the need to adapt to limited space. Creativity and ingenuity are vital, with people reusing materials and creating rudimentary systems of ventilation and food cultivation in enclosed spaces. Beyond individual protection, the formation of new communities is crucial for ensuring long-term survival. In a world where trust is scarce, small groups of survivors come together, sharing resources and skills to create micro-societies that can withstand adversity. These new communities often arise around safe water sources or areas less affected by radiation. Cooperation becomes the key, with each member contributing in some way, whether in searching for food, building shelters, or defending against external threats. However, group survival also brings challenges, such as managing internal conflicts and the difficult task of maintaining order in a world where old social norms have been destroyed. After the initial chaos, humanity slowly begins to reorganize and seek ways to rebuild what was lost. The first phase of this reconstruction involves restoring basic order, re-establishing communication networks, ensuring the distribution of food and water, and creating security systems to protect communities from internal and external threats. Groups of survivors form councils or local governments to make collective decisions and implement recovery plans. These efforts, though modest at first, represent the first steps toward the resurrection of a functional society, where cooperation and innovation are fundamental. In the long run, the reconstruction of humanity also depends on developing new technologies and reinventing old ones. Surviving scientists and engineers work to create solutions that can mitigate the damage caused by radiation and nuclear winter, such as soil purification and growing food in adverse conditions. The accumulated knowledge before the war is repurposed and adapted, allowing new generations to learn and advance. At the same time, reconstruction involves a profound questioning of past mistakes, with humanity seeking ways to avoid repeating the tragedies that led to destruction. Hope emerges in the form of a global renaissance, where the lessons of the past guide the construction of a safer and more sustainable future. To ensure long-term survival in a post-nuclear world, humanity needs radical innovations and profound changes in how it lives. Decontamination technologies become essential, allowing soil and water to be purified for cultivation and consumption. New forms of agriculture, such as hydroponics and aquaponics, emerge as viable solutions to produce food in controlled environments, protected from the external effects of radiation and unstable climate. Additionally, sustainable energy becomes even more important, with the development of clean and renewable energy sources that do not depend on destroyed infrastructures. Communities adopt a mindset of self-sufficiency, prioritizing material reuse and creating closed cycles of production and consumption. These innovations, coupled with a new collective awareness of past dangers, are crucial for building a resilient society capable of thriving in a transformed world. The devastating experience of a nuclear war serves as a powerful reminder of the need for ongoing dialogue and global governance that prioritizes collective survival over individual interests.